So the officer in this case engaged with an armed suspect. The suspect was pointing his gun at the officer, and the officer was pointing his gun at the suspect. Both men, the officer and the suspect, pulled the triggers of their guns. But it was clear that the suspect pulled his trigger first, and here's how I knew. And please try to follow me on this because it's really interesting and it's really disturbing at the same time because of how close to death this officer came. Just before the officer pulled his trigger, the bullet from the suspect's gun hit the muzzle end of the officer's gun, damaging the slide and pushing it rearward out of battery. And because the barrel and slide were ever so slightly damaged due to the impact, the spring tension from the gun's mainspring could not push the officer's slide back into battery. In other words, the impact disabled the officer's gun just milliseconds before he attempted to fire it. So when he pulled the trigger, the gun would not fire, yet he would have felt the force of the impact from the suspect's bullet hitting his gun, which understandably confused him. He probably thought it was his own recoil that he felt, but he also probably sensed that the trigger didn't feel right because it was disengaged from the firing mechanism. You can't train for a scenario like this in the police academy. Now, to appreciate how dangerous this situation was, think about where officers are holding their guns when firing them. Okay, they're holding it up on a line of sight that runs directly from the target through the sights of the gun to the officer's dominant eye, meaning that the suspect's bullet was heading right for the officer's head when it struck the muzzle end of his gun. I had never seen anything like it and never have since. It was unbelievable. But the forensic evidence told the story very clearly.